Yeah, so that's one of the things that I was telling you earlier. And guys, the mission, I guess, that I've noticed about active self-protection, and I want you to talk to Neil more about, what active self-protection is, et cetera, et cetera. We'll get into that. But one of the things I've noticed about, and it was just stuck in my head, and part of the reason I titled this the way that I did was I saw this quote that says, "The rising tide lifts all boats." And that resonated with me because when I think of active self-protection and the instructor certification program, the national conference, and all of the things you guys are involved in, I think of a rising tide. I think of you guys as trying to partner up and network with other people in order to make this entire industry better. And so that's why I titled it the way that I did. So could we get into your mission behind active self-protection? Like, literally, what is, you have the YouTube channel, you have the active self-protection extra channel, and then a little bit later we'll get into the instructor certification program and the national conference, because there's a lot.
There is. I mean, our bread and butter is YouTube for sure. The two
Hmm.
channels on YouTube, the big channel we call the big channel, or we call it main, because that's the
Yeah.
one that it's got 2.8 some odd million fans. Or somebody explained to me those are subs; those are not fans. So you get to have some great conversations from
Oh,
time
some
to
of them
time.
aren't fans at all, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I had one guy remind me that while I was sitting at the NRA National Convention just last summer, and I was talking to a guy about, listen, I want to test. Well, it was the Grizzly Ears guy. Everybody has probably seen, or some people have seen. I've got some different ear stuff, and I can never find an in ear that will stay in my weirdly shaped ears. I have giant Spock ears and tiny little ear lobes or something. I don't know what it is, but so I'm talking to this guy and I'm telling him who I am, and I'm not there trying to fish for free stuff or anything. That's the whole influencer thing that I alluded to a little bit ago. But I was telling him, I'm like, his stuff was all about hunting and everything, and he hunts here in my town in Mitchell, South Dakota. So we were talking about that, and I'm like, yeah, I help out with this YouTube channel. We've got about at the time, I think it was like 2.6 million fans, and some dude standing right there corrected me that those aren't all fans. Some of those are just subs, because they're there to unfornicate our thinking. And he said it in a little bit more
Different way. Yeah.
colorful way, yeah.
Hmm.
But I was like, oh, I feel like I've seen you in the comments, or many people like you in the comments. But that's really our bread and butter, is an educational thing, is to educate people on how things really happen. I feel like I'm in a fortunate place that I get to meet these people all of the time that have had a near life and death kind of thing, or have been in I've been in a shootout, or had to shoot somebody, or had to defend their own life or their family with a pepper spray, or open-handed skills, or with a firearm and that kind of thing. And never once does one of them say, well, it went exactly the way I thought it would go. They just don't. But we talk all the time, and you see it in the comments all the time, to people that don't have this experience, that are like, well, I do this because when my day comes, here's how it's going to go. And they have this process in their mind of how it's going to go. And so, that's the educational side of it, is it's not going to go the way that you think it's going to go.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen the time that, there's been times where things have happened in my life, and I'm like, man, that did not go the way I wanted to go. And I wish I would have reacted better, or I wish I would have done this differently. And, I think those mental reps that we need to give people, give them
Hmm.
an opportunity to
That's huge.
do their thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Definitely.
and so, you get 50, 60 million views a month. There is some value there. So sponsors will come on and help with that. And that helps us make a living, and helps us kind of keep the ball rolling, down the road in the direction that we want it to.
Yeah.
And so that's really what's all behind it. Is it's an educational thing, and
Hmm.
I again, everything is a little bit of a blessing and a curse, because you do get to hear how stupid you are on a daily basis, and anytime you put a video up, you're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't in some cases.
Right.
But
And that's where
you
the sense
try
of
to.
humor comes in, right?
Exactly. You know, and so if you can't laugh at yourself a little bit, but sometimes you also have to, you do have to step back and really analyze yourself, and that's a thing
Mhm.
that I've always felt like has been important to me, is that self-analyzation, is, can I do this better? Is there something I
Mhm.
can do different? Am I stuck in my way here, or is there a better way?